Good morning, everyone. It is currently morning for me, so if you hear the wind blowing and rattling my windows, I do apologize. It's pretty high wind today. It's pretty chilly, but the sun is shining. That makes me happy. I wanted to just come on and chat. It's been almost a year since I started my channel, so I thought I would reintroduce myself a little bit before I get started on my video. I am 38 years old. I have never been married. I do not have any children. I do live in Montana, where it is extremely hot in the summer and extremely cold in the winters. I grew up and have lived in the same community my entire life, and I can't imagine living anywhere else. I love it here, mostly because my family's here. There are a couple of things I wanted to discuss regarding my budget, and there's another thing I want to touch on too at the end. So, and I did make notes because otherwise I will like scatter and go off topic and forget stuff, which I'll probably forget stuff anyway, but we're gonna try not to because I did notes. In the last few months, I've had a few things go on. I've had some budget busters. I'm tired of being reactive to things. It's time for me to be a little proactive. But some of the things that have happened is I've had bills pull from my account before they were supposed to, which is my fault. I didn't go look. I just assumed it was still on the same schedule, and they pulled from one pay period instead of the pay period that I had them slotted to pull from, which is okay because I've been able to pull from like my rent account and things like that to cover it, and then when I get paid I just refund my rent account because my rent wasn't due at the time that this happened. That was okay. The second one that I've had to deal with isn't anything new. It's kind of been in the back of my mind for quite a while because I know it's probably going to come up in the next year or two, but I've just been putting it to the side because I didn't want to think about it. But I'm pretty sure that my medical insurance is going to be changing pretty drastically within the next 5 years. The company I work for does have a couple of different options for medical insurance, and they have introduced one, and they hinted pretty hard in the last couple of years that this is what their medical insurance is going to move to, which is a high deductible. They have two different deductibles you have to meet. You have an in-network deductible and an out-network deductible, and together those are about $6,000, which I can't afford, and I don't have the luxury of just doing in-network because of my health. I have to do both. Where I live, you can't get everything that you need done in network. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. I have to think about having a reserve for that when that comes due, when that happens. Granted, it's not something that's going to happen overnight. I've got some time to think about it. I've got a few years left to consider how this is going to go and how I'm going to deal with it. So that's still kind of in the background, but it has made me think of that while that's still in the background, what am I doing for my medical costs now? And I'm reevaluating how I'm doing that because, again, I'm reactive about my medical bills, not proactive, and that needs to change. And then I had a huge, for one budget, I had a huge budget buster. I've had, since I moved in, I've lived here for 5 years, I've had an issue with my door locks. The lock on the knob has never worked since I moved in. It like 1 in 15 times it'll latch. And half the time when it latches, I lock myself out because I've somehow just on autopilot have locked it and then gone through and closed the door behind me and have locked myself out. And I've never really made a deal about it. I've never talked to my landlord about it. He would have come fixed it, but I had the deadbolt and the deadbolt worked fine. It's not something I was super anxious about. But a couple of months ago, I started having some issues with my deadbolt not opening all the way, like the bolt wouldn't retract completely when you unlocked it with the key and just inside. And there was a small situation that happened, and I realized this last month that someone who has a spare key to my apartment probably should not have a spare key to my apartment. I'm sure the whole situation that happened was innocent, but it made me evaluate on who I want to have access to my home and to how readily available they can have access to my home. So I decided what I was going to do. Instead of doing my regular $100 credit card payment from this last budget, I scrapped that, and I used that money as well as any extra money that I had in my cash envelopes. I went and bought a new doorknob and a new deadbolt, and I did deadbolt, a keyless entry deadbolt, so it eliminates any need for anyone to have a spare key in case I get locked out. And if I have family who comes and needs access, they can have access without a key. And those that are not in my family who should not have keys will not have keys. So there's that. So that was kind of a big budget buster for me. But I decided it was worth it. I didn't talk to my landlord before I did it. I just did it. He would have bought whatever he wanted to buy to put on it and had a maintenance guy come over and do it. But I've dealt with this several times. He forgets all the time. He's just got so much going on, he can't remember it all, and it's just easier for me to do it and then let him know. And he has offered to pay it. He said he'd get me a check for the balance, so I'm assuming eventually I will get that money back and I can integrate it back into my budget. But until that time, I'm just gonna go on like it's gone, or the bills being pulled before they should. Had to change the locks, so there's money out of my budget. And it made me reevaluate some things too, on having to deplete something else for my budget to take care of it. And then what am I doing with my medical costs? And what do I need to have going forward so that I feel financially comfortable with putting everything I have towards my debt. I would love to just shove everything I have into my debt and get it paid off, but I also need to be realistic. If there's any sort of emergency, I have to have the money to pay for it. So I have been thinking about this, and I sat down and I wrote out all the things that I think I would need, and then I had to decide what was the most important. If I shove money towards this, what do I need first, second, third? What order do I put these in? And then also, how am I going to fund this? Primarily, it's going to be extra income. A little of it will be coming from my regular budget, which some of these things I already budget for, but the majority of it will be extra income. And I have one job, so I gotta do a little bit of creative thinking with these on how I'm going to fund them. The first one is you can't see it. I have a huge pile of things. Some of it's like antiques and vintage things, but these are things that I haven't been using. They've been in storage. And I'm gonna make a big push of selling it on Facebook Marketplace. But I've got all of those that I'm gonna try and get a few $100s from. We'll see how it goes. I have a hate, okay-ish relationship with Facebook Marketplace. I despise selling stuff on it. It's a little tough with some of the people who are on there, and I have found that I don't have the tolerance for it. So I usually don't, but I'm gonna give it a try. We'll see if I get anything from it. I'm also thinking I could make some stuff up, like little stocking stuffer gifts or something for Christmas time, and see if I could sell those. That wouldn't be too difficult for me to do, and it wouldn't take too much time. And then I do occasionally do some babysitting for family. I don't do it outside of family, so that's why it's occasionally, and depending on why the reason I'm babysitting, I do get paid. My entire weekend with a very large household full of children, and I got paid for that. So that money that I got paid, a large majority of it will be going into the savings goal that I have, and I'm going to share with that. And then I also will be putting my tax return towards it. Whatever I get for a tax return, if I get a tax return, kind of always get the same amount, but with all the changes in the last few years, tax-wise, I did make up a sheet for my savings. And when I sat down and thought all of these out, I came up with 11 I should be striving to be saving. Whether I'm in debt, whether I'm out of debt, these are the most important things. The first 6 months of 2022 and the end of 2021, my goal is only going to be the first 6. Those are doable. And then the rest I can work on from my regular budget, as well as any extra income I get going forward. So those first 6 items are month ahead fund. I want to be able to just have an account so that I can just fund it from my bi-weekly budget, so that every month I have the total of what all of my bills are already there, and I don't have to worry about what day they're going to come out. Are they going to come out on this pay period or the other pay period? Since I'm paid bi-weekly, I get pretty much 2 paychecks every month. And then, so that I want a month ahead fund. And then I also decided I needed a medical fund where I could just pay out of this medical fund. So that will be number 2. And then my dental crowns, I'm kind of keeping that separate from medical because they're specific things that I do know medically that I have to have done in the next year. Actually 2 years, I have to split them up. So I'll be saving for this next year doing it, and then the year afterwards. My insurance will only pay for 1 of these a year. So it has to be split up, so I only have to get to a certain amount to cover my cost of that. Number 4 is AS membership, which that's part of the other thing I wanted to talk about, so I will come back to this. And then summer utilities, I do want to have $500 saved up by May for summer utilities. I don't know even if that's going to be enough. If I can come up with a little bit more, I will. But that's kind of the number I had in mind when I went through and decided all of this. And then number 6 is household. With having to change my locks and paying for it out of pocket, I decided I didn't want to have to shift my budget around for that. I should have some money put away if I need to do something along those lines. If I have to replace an appliance like a microwave or coffee pot, if I need to buy something to repair a chair, I can buy something to repair a chair and not worry about it coming out of my budget. And then the rest I'll just go over later. It's like emergency fund, and then having a moving fund, because eventually I will move. I have no plans, but sometime down the line I will. And when I do move, I don't want to move myself, and I don't want to have to force my family to either. They would do it, but it would not be enjoyable, mostly because, well, moving's not enjoyable. but it would be even worse because I live in a second-story walk-up, and you would have to take all of my heavy furniture downstairs, and I'm not doing that. I'm not doing it. And I'm not making anybody else do it. I'll hire someone to do it. And then having a savings fund for some tech, because I tell you, I need some better technology in my life. What I'm using, I am making work, but it's pretty difficult. But yeah, so, and the total of the first 6 items on my list is $2,900. So it's not an unreachable amount. It's gonna be a little tough. Again, I've already got a little bit set aside because I did get paid for babysitting, which will also be going into the month ahead fund, because that's the thing that I decided I needed first, so I could get that set up and going immediately before the end of December. I want this taken care of, and I'm already halfway there. So what I did is I made up, this just has my list of goals, and I made up, it's called it Savings Goal Part 1 because it's just the first part. So I have every line is $100, and I've marked out every $500 up to $25, and then just the last one is a $2,900. And then within the little thermostat, I have where these items will be fully funded. So like the month ahead fund is right here, the medical emergency fund is here, my crowns fund is there, all the way up to my household, which will be the last thing that I will worry about stuffing. So the month ahead, like I said, is the first one. I'm already halfway to having that stuffed. And I am just going to let this live inside the front cover of my little budget binder that I have, and I will mark it off as I go. I don't know if this will just become part of my everyday, of my normal budget, or if I'll do anything special with it. Again, I'm not sure. I haven't stuffed the money yet. I haven't decided if I'm gonna even do a video on that, because it's going to one place. Is it really worth it? Should I put it in with my regular budget? Not positive yet how I'm gonna do that, but I'll let you know as soon as I know. So that's what I'm doing with that. And then the second thing I wanted to talk to you about was, it does go along with my medical costs and this membership that I said I'd talk to you about, and that is my health and my quality of life. I have mentioned a few times I do suffer from a chronic illness. I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis 7 years ago, just over 7 years ago. And then the last few years I've had a few other things come up, which they told me was very likely to happen. I have some thyroid issues, I have some sleep issues that we're trying to deal with. Some of it's not going to be able to be dealt with right away. We would all like it to be, but due to certain circumstances, it can't be. So we're putting bandages on it and hoping to get through until it can be figured out. So with that, I have noticed within the last few years that I've lost a lot of muscle density and my ability to do anything, and I have no energy or motivation because I have no energy pretty much all the time, which is not a good sign. So there are a few things that I need to change around in my life. One of them is being healthier. And to do that, I took out this membership last year, and I just need to have the money saved up to pay for it again. And that membership is actually called Autoimmune Strong. It was created by a great woman who actually suffers from autoimmune diseases herself and is geared towards people with autoimmune diseases. because along with my RA, I developed exercise intolerance, which basically means that if I exercise or do anything productive, like physically active, I throw myself into a flare-up. Which means that I'm sick for days to weeks to months, just depending on how bad it is. Which means that I'm not very active. I live a pretty sedentary life, and it's not good. And this Autoimmune Strong program works at getting you a tolerance built up slowly, very slowly, and it helps. And I did it for a year before I started budgeting. And then when I started budgeting, I decided it's not in the budget. I can't afford it. I'll go back to it when I could. And then after spending a year of not having it, decided that it has to be a priority, because I get such great results from it. And it helps me just be able to do stuff. So that is what that is. And along with that, I do need to lose weight. I mean, it's obvious I have to lose weight to be healthier. Just not at a good place health-wise with that. Getting more sleep would help, but we'll get there. So, and I'm thinking, because I am struggling with even starting, my brain just won't settle down and make a plan and get to it. And with struggling with trying to even just come up with, with ideas on how to even get started or what other people do, I went to YouTube, because why wouldn't you? And I really didn't find a lot. I found a couple of channels, but not really in regards to what I'm needing. The ones that are out there are okay, but they're not quite what I was looking for. And I figured, why not be the fumbling, I know no idea what I'm doing. I have no medical knowledge beyond my own experiences within my disease. So I figured, why not make it available for millions of people? Hopefully this will get some tips for me, or give anyone else ideas on what you can do in your own journey if you are on a journey such as this, or what you've done to make your life healthier. So I might be doing that soon. And the first thing I would need to do, I think, is to get my life organized. It's not. My space that I live in is extremely unorganized at the moment. I started a project to try and make it more organized so that I wasn't struggling to do everything or find things, that everything had a home and everything would work seamlessly throughout anything that I needed to do at home. So I might start with that. I might take you along with my mess. You can't see it, but it looks like every closet I have has thrown up every piece of contents in it, because mostly it has everywhere. It's a mess. And a disorganized space makes my brain disorganized. So I haven't even been able to wrap my head around it. Some of it's going to cost a little bit for some supplies, but I don't know. So that's what's going on. I am working on creating a daily journal so that I can keep track of everything. I'm hoping that works. I'm not a journaler. I don't do journals. I don't do diaries, but I need to figure something out. And since I do have a unique situation, unique needs that I have to track, I can't find anything that would work digitally or in print. So I've just decided I'm making my own. And it has to be something that I can carry with me on a constant basis. So there's that. I've also started an Instagram page. So go check me out. I don't do Instagram for much of anything. I do have an account personally where so I can follow some people, but I rarely comment on anyone's Instagram, and I never posted anything myself. So that'll be interesting to see if that goes, but go ahead and check it out. It's the same as my YouTube channel. It's just Rusty Windmill Designs, so easy to find. And I do also have a Facebook page that I set up, but with the same name, but there's nothing in there. So I'm not a huge Facebook person. I'm not very huge in social media. Beyond YouTube, I really don't do much with social media. So this will be an interesting journey with me starting. You get to see me fumble around with that too. Get to see me fumble with starting that. Figuring out how I'm even going to start getting healthier. Yeah. Obviously, I've gone off script because I didn't make notes for any of this, I don't think. Yeah, so keep an eye out. I will be announcing some more stuff, probably over on Instagram. So I might be posting some stuff about my YouTube channel over there and vice versa. I don't know what I'm doing, to tell you the truth. I tend to not make plans. I just do it. So we'll see how that works. Let me know, do you guys want to know if I decide to share anything that I do get sold? I will probably be sharing that on Instagram. I got some money for my challenge. Well, for my goal. I guess you could call it a challenge. A lot of other people in the budget community are doing challenges on YouTube. This will be mine. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna quit rambling, and I hope to see you over on Instagram. So yes, I will quit rambling. I'm done. I'll quit going off script. I don't have anything else, I believe. I'm sure I forgot stuff even with the notes I did. I always do. So thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. If you made it this far, I don't believe I'll be doing a closeout on my last budget, just because everything got paid. Everything's the way it should be, except for that $100 payment to my credit card. And I didn't have any leftover money because I used it to help buy locks and deadbolts. That is everything for today, I believe. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. Or any ideas that you would think I could use on this journey. Greatly appreciate anything. Creative criticism, whatever it is. I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.